Hi, friends. It's Sister Marla Clerks. Every time Ash Wednesday and Lent roll around, I think back to when I was in early high school and my grandpa Clerks came and lived with us for a while. And he did so during this Lenten season. And I remember going to Mass as a family on Ash Wednesday and receiving those ashes and coming home. And as kids, it was always our desire to try to see if we had any ashes left the next morning, which of course we never did. They were just like light gray smudges on our pillowcases. And so we were surprised when Grandpa came down on Thursday and still had perfect ashes on his forehead. He had them there the next day, and the next day, and the next day. In fact, I think he had them on for like 6, 7, 8 days. And again, as kids, we thought that it was pretty cool at first that he had kept them smudge free. And then we thought it was kind of funny as the week went on. But then I remember him being asked, why do you keep those on as long as you can? And why not just wash them off when they start to disappear? And I remember Grandpa saying, because every time I look in the mirror and see them, I remember that maybe this is the year that I get it right. Again, I think of that every year. You've probably even heard me share that story before. But I kind of have that same mentality each year. May this be the year that I get it just a little more right. May this be the Ash Wednesday, the Lenten season, when I put more of the commitment of my heart and my energy and my soul into it. And to me this year, as I was reflecting on it, what kept coming to mind was that importance of moving away from simply knowing the answers to living the message. I think back to when I was teaching school and, kids know all the answers for religion questions. You'd say to them, what do you do if you go into the lunchroom and there's somebody sitting by themselves? And of course, their answer was always, you go sit by them and make a friend with them. But did they do it? Not always, not often. The same can be true for us. We know the answers. We can answer those faith questions. We can talk about prayer, fasting, and almsgiving or generosity. But have we moved enough away from simply knowing the answers into living the message? I think of that in the first one of our traditions of prayer, of saying, I know it's important to pray. I can answer who should we pray for. But how do I live that message? Do I truly pray for those that I struggle with? Do I pray for my enemies? Do I pray for those who would wish to do me harm? Do I pray for those who really have no influence in my life, those that I don't even know? Do I pray for those I struggle with and disagree with? Do I pray to change myself instead of praying to have them change? Again, to move from, I know the answer, to, am I living the message? The same can be said for when we look at fasting. There are some great things to fast from, to fast from food or sugar or alcohol or those things that might have some control over our lives, those things that maybe keep us from being as healthy as we might be. It's important to fast from like movies and TV and maybe even certain books or online articles if they keep us away from relationships, if they keep us away from family time, if they keep us away from goodness, if there are things that maybe we really shouldn't be seeing or listening to. Can we know instead what Jesus invites us to? He says, this is the type of fasting I wish. Do whatever you can to unchain those who are bound by poverty, by discrimination, by hatred, to also release the captives, those who are captives of homelessness, of hunger, of a lack of education, of a lack of a job, or a lack of the ability to truly care for themselves or their families. Can we fast from our apathy towards helping those things come about? And then to be more generous. Yes, maybe to increase the amount of giving, to grab one of the rice bowls at church, to focus on a charity. But in knowing that God gave all, again, to move from the answer to the question to the living the message. Can we give a little more of our all to God and to others? Can we let go a little bit more of that belief that our lives are about us, instead of knowing that they are given to be lived for others and for God? So how do we move this Lenten season away from simply knowing the answers, knowing that we are to be people of prayer, knowing that we are to be people who fast, knowing that we are called to be people who are generous? Can we move away from simply knowing those things to truly living them as messages of the gospel?